This episode of Hak5 is brought to you by Domain.com.
Yeah, this place is a mess. I don't know if we're gonna do a regular episode. I was figuring, why don't we just take this opportunity as we're in the transition to the warehouse to go have a little fun. Oh yeah, and the little guy. Bye Sarah, happy hack shopping. Dude, one of the things that I love about these is there's just like loops and stuff everywhere. They call it the Molly system, and I'm constantly caraboning things to other things. I gotta say, Paul, I just can't wait to get into the warehouse. We've needed this space for so long. Although if things don't go so well, I may be building mini quads just so that I can fly in the warehouse. This is one of the turns in the course that I set up this morning. I'm just thinking, where can we, yeah, this is nice and shady enough. Yeah, I'll just make sure to go around us.
Oh man, that's a complex chair.
This isn't a chair. Since I'm gonna want to tune the other one, out here in the industrial wilderness of Point Richmond, I at first was kind of not impressed with this frame. I was like really eager because this is a Bay Area Heli Nemesis, and like the whole selling factor on it is that it supports 5-inch and 6-inch props and can fold up, and I like the idea of just being able to like grab a bag and go and have everything super compact. But in the 6-inch configuration, it doesn't really fold up so well, and I've had to make some modifications to the rigidity section and whatever. So the thing is though, I've got it tuned, it's flying great right now. So this is my happy place. This is what I do when I'm not doing the Hak5 thing, and it keeps me sane. And I figure for that reason, it's worth the effort. Take some time out. This one I just kind of threw together. In fact, it's just running whatever spare parts I had lying around. I've got a NASA in here with a Immersion RC 600 milliwatt video transmitter. Transmits analog video at, what is it, 600 milliwatts on 5.8 gigahertz. I got these little 12 amp ESCs. Oh, I'm sorry, they're 20 amp ESCs, these Afros with the Simon K firmware. They're like the really mini guys, I like them. And otherwise, I'm just running a Spectrum system, and I'll be recording with a Mobius. There's this theory of the Mobius, where time becomes a loop. That's my Michael Dorn to the one there. Yeah, what's fun about this is it kind of leads into a lot of other areas of math and science. So through the need to have better reception in my FPV or first-person view quadcopter flight experience, I've learned a lot about, you know, the radio horizon or what a Fresnel zone is. And, you know, of course, these are things that we cover in the Hak5 as they relate to Wi-Fi, but it's all the same stuff. Oh, and right now I am a bird. There is nothing in this world that could tell me otherwise. I don't do drugs, despite living in the San Francisco Bay Area, so for me, this is my jam. This is my out-of-body experience, which is actually the weirdest thing, because when you come up on yourself, flying the quad that is, and you're looking through the goggles, all of your sensory, like, it doesn't take much. If anybody's played with the Oculus Rift, would agree, it doesn't take much to hack the human brain into believing. And so if you see it, oh yeah, you're gonna believe it. And that just becomes your new reality. And so one of the weirdest things when I first started flying FPV was that I would come up on myself and I would see myself, and I'm not, you know, I'm used to seeing myself in a mirror, but this wasn't like a mirror, like I would see myself from behind. And it's a totally eerie experience, and kind of awesome. In fact, just recently I was out at the park and was having a really great flight, and it had been like 10 or 15 minutes of just, you know, cruising around along the bay, and it had come up over the bay onto the land, and I caught a glimpse of my shadow, and of course it's the shadow of the quadcopter, and for some reason it took me off guard because I don't know why I wasn't expecting to see, you know, the quadcopter, or what I was expecting to see, like my own figure, like me, like, woo, I'm a bird. But yeah, it totally freaked me out. It's kind of great that way. Yeah, it's like, I don't know what it is. It's not a video game, although I will say that having, you know, played first-person shooters and things of that nature. Like if you ever played Descent as a kid, this will just be completely natural. This little subset of the hobby has really become popular in the last year. They're calling it the 250 class. It's really from like 200 to 300 millimeter. That is rotor to rotor kind of dimensions there. So you're really limited to 5 and 6 inch props. But yeah, this little subset of the hobby has really taken off. The idea is you get a really nimble, very versatile, you know, quad that's super tiny, that kind of like hugs the ground and zips around trees and such. And there's even people building entire, like, you know, race tracks or whatever in the woods with different trails and stuff. It looks like a lot of fun. And I've been having fun with it with these two guys. There's something about this that reminds me of the good old days of building computers. Oh yeah, I've crashed this guy a few times. It took a little bit to figure out exactly how he wants to fly. All the little quirks, and that's what I love about it. I mean, like I said, it's like building a computer, you know? Every computer has its little quirk, and you just gotta figure out what it is. The reason I'm out here doing this, Paul, is actually because this part of the hobby is kind of in danger right now. I'm not even sure if it's going to be able to last, or at least not in the United States. The FAA updated a policy saying that restating the way that what a model aircraft is. And I guess you should probably understand that previous to this update of this policy, the FAA has never actually been in any way involved in model aircraft because, well, it's just not their bag, you know. They're really about civil and commercial aviation, you know, things with people on it. But as the world changes, the FAA is now vying for unmanned aircraft regulations. And while no official regulation has passed, you know, something that would actually require people to vote on it and, you know, pass it into law, they have gone ahead and updated a policy statement that defines what a model aircraft is. And the most notable change, for me at least, is that it says that a model aircraft is one which is flown with visual line of sight. That is to say, I must have the aircraft in my sights at all times, and the goggles being over my eyes obviously prevent that. You know, one could imagine that with a video tracking system and picture-in-picture you could kind of do a technical workaround, but they actually mean with the naked eye, no binoculars, nothing like that. So it kind of just destroys a multi-million-dollar industry that is FPV flying. In fact, as it's just beginning to take off, as it were. And so it's really a damn shame because, you know, while this is up for people to comment on, the comment period is about to be over. In fact, by the time you're watching this, there's only a day or two left. So I'm hoping that everybody can kind of just get a sense of what this is, before this hobby is completely gone, and hopefully it won't be. People get an idea of just the fun that is flying FPV, flying model aircraft, and if they so wish to, go to regulations.gov, type in FPV, and leave a comment. I mean, it's made my life personally so much better. Yeah. It's so strange to think, too, that the FAA would consider what I'm doing right now, flying through the woods, a threat to the national airspace. I mean, I don't know about you, but I don't see any Boeing 747s passing through here. So, previously they had a nice arrangement with the, what is it called? The AMA, or it's the Amateur Modeling Association here in the United States. And they had a nice relationship with the FAA, whereby they would put forth voluntary guidelines, and they're really good ones. They're safe and sound guidelines, like, you know, fly with a buddy, like Paul right here, who's my spotter, or you know, stay under 400 feet, because of course, you know, general aviation could be as low as 500 feet, so it gives a nice buffer zone. So it's just a shame to see the FAA just completely ignoring a relationship that it had forged for, you know, generations, and to see something that brings people together and brings so much enjoyment, not hurting anyone, to be under threat because, well, because of an update to a policy statement. Now, I wouldn't mind if there's a law passed that actually states what this is and what can and can't be done with this technology. But to just blanket, throw it out, it just seems like, you know, the baby in the bathwater. I mean, I wouldn't mind even a chance to participate in some sort of lawmaking process involving this, but just to update a policy, it just seems so, I don't know. There we go. You know what's crazy? Look at this. This is the way that I've got the motors actually mounted onto the frame. Yeah. I'm just using zip ties, which I felt like was totally cheating, but no, it's actually a thing, and it was great because earlier today I had a pretty good crash and nothing happened to this carbon fiber frame. The only thing that happened was that it snapped on impact, which is exactly what I wanted. The little zip tie broke off and I just had to put it back on and it was good to go. It's kind of epic.
Man, I thought camera gear.
I know, I'm pretty much just rocking quadcopter gear. But yeah, let's not forget this. Much like geocaching, we want to leave the place better than we found it. Well, that's just about it. I figured that in the midst of the craziness that is the move to the warehouse, I would take a moment to kind of share with you a little bit of this hobby that's under regulatory fire right now. And if it's something that you're interested in, you can go to regulations.gov and type in FPV in the search. And in fact, you can even check out Flite Test. It's another great YouTube channel that covers a lot of this stuff as well. And if you're in the Bay Area and want to fly, hit me up on Twitter. Otherwise, that's kind of it for this week. I just want to get out there and show you something that I really enjoy. And of course, value your feedback. So hit us up, feedback@hak5.org. Otherwise, we'll be back with more regular episodes hopefully soon. You smell that? I need to make lemon flavored mustaches. This is the case. This is totally fact. It's how it works. It is now available on the broadbands for which you too can have a brilliant idea. Because when you get that idea, you have to search for it fast. And what's awesome is that domain.com, they've got this quick domain discovery system, making their checkout process and everything super simple to get you set up in no time at all. Fire up that web server because we're about to get creative. That's a brilliant idea. I told you guys before, I love domain.com because they're reliable, they're affordable, they're easy to use, but most of all, you'll realize that it is a super fun place to do business, as we have realized, as we tweet them at domain.com and realize, wow, these people are just crazy enough to do business with us. They like lemon flavored mustaches. It's like brand new from the minds of the domain place where they dig up the domains. It's so great. But you know what else is crazy? The savings! If you use the coupon code HAK5 at checkout, you're gonna get an extra 15% off. From your mind, into the web, domain name, website, you're up and running. So when you think domain names, think domain.com. I should probably also add to the international viewers that this, while specific to the United States with our Federal Aviation Administration, kind of has some bearings on the rest of the world in that many other nations look to the United States for policies to implement and kind of follow that lead. And so I just wish that the United States would kind of like get on board with some of the more sensible stuff that, for instance, the United Kingdom is even, you know, they've got laws on the books that make it, you know, just plain and simple. I forget exactly what the specifics are, but it's something about staying away from buildings and you're good. So I just hope that this isn't one of those things where we can look back on to see what a hobby was. I hope that it's something where we can continue the conversation, continue the fight, and yeah. So I think this only encourages people to get into math and science and stuff of that nature. That's pretty much it, Paul. Well, the sad thing is we're not getting the forklift. They told me they're not going to leave the forklift for us, which on the one hand means we don't have to get certified to drive a forklift, but on the other hand means that there's so much hijinks that we're going to miss out on.
Don't worry, we have plenty of roller chairs.
Yeah. I'm thinking zip line. Huh?